and the other really significantly, increase in the number of young people voting, which has been great. A couple of things to unpick there. Paddy Ashdown, if it is returning to a two-party political situation, what do you think's happened to your progressive alliance? I've never been in favour of progressive alliance. Something a little different in fact than to the moment. Look, two thoughts. First of all, allow me this indulgence. I gather the Tories and the SNP are trying to say that the exit poll is wrong. I would advise them strongly, as somebody who said that I'll need my hat, that they are a dangerous town. The second point I would make, very clearly, is that I don't think any hats to that already. The second point is that if this is true, then our country is more polarised between the extremes than it has ever been. Between a right-wing Conservative party, which has swallowed lots of new Arab and policies, and a hard-left Labour party, remnant of the 1940s. And a great swathe of Britain on whether a progressive voice has been left to voice this. I think that's a really important issue. I don't share Jack's views. I bet you tomorrow you will say we've turned it to party. There's no black. You will see in due course, representing the debate together, that the nation has not moved to extremes. Alright. I want to bring in King Park at this point. Because King Park, again, another veteran of many elections. And I wonder, when you see this exit poll on the impact, where do you think this leads Theresa May's Brexit strategy? Well, I already think the exit poll is slightly wrong. I mean, the pollsters are for different methodologies. They're having a stab at things. The early results show that it's easily producing theories on that. If you want my guess, it was totally guess on the first results on that poll, there's going to be a small Conservative over the middle. But it's far too soon to be able to say it. I think that politics is changing. It's changing a lot. And everyone trying to catch up with them. The opinion has polarised. The public are quite polarised. There's a slight drift back towards two big parties being the major participants. I'm told. Just in the national polls, is agenda. Very nice. Oh, who was that? Oh, that was Danny. Oh, Paddy. Oh, Paddy. A quick word then. Oh, come on then. Oh, all right. Come on then. Give us 10 seconds. My two friends, Ken and Jack, I've known for a very long time. If they believe, or anybody that believes, that the true complexity of Britain are represented by two parties who have dominated the votes tonight, one extreme right indistinguishable in policy in terms of the UK, and the other returning to the socialism of the 1950s, they are wrong. And that is going to appear, in my view, whenever hopefully soon the centre begins to get its act together. Paddy Ashton, thank you very much. And Ken Clark and Ashton. Interesting to hear from Brussels before we leave Wednesday, wouldn't it? We're going to Coventry now. We're sending ourselves to Coventry, and we're finding Shelley Phelps there. Shelley, you're hearing something about Warwick and Leamington. Good evening, Jim. Yes, that's right. Because we had expected Marshall Coventry seats from South Northwest Tories might be their first in 2 decades. As it happens, my attention is actually turned to Warwick and Leamington, which was a semi-Marshall Conservative seat. It's a majority of more than 6,000, but I've been hearing from Labour supporters there who are saying this is nail-bitingly close, and they think they could be in with a chance of taking this seat. Now, if Labour take Warwick and Leamington, that is the sort of seat where Labour would be looking at an overall majority in Parliament. In fact, Jeremy Corbyn was here weeks ago, and he addressed the rally of hundreds, and he said this is exactly the type of seat that Labour needed if they were to govern with a majority. What comes to my mind at this point, Shelley, is students. Of course. Now, student turnout is reported, we haven't had overall turnout yet, but the student turnout is reported to be very good. Earlier on this evening, we had lots of queues outside polling stations, but crucially, the thing to remember about Warwick and Leamington is that Warwick District is the only place in the West Midlands that voted to remain by about 59%. Now, Chris White, he was the sitting Conservative MP, he was a Remain MP, but he voted for Article 50, and Labour have really been gunning for him over this. The majority was over 6,000 for the Conservatives, Chris Wade last time round. But Shelley is hearing that it's going to be close. It's just after 12:30. Pretty remarkable election night, although we've only had a handful of good results. Susan Ray, some of the news. The first results in the general election have been declared. Labour has held 6 seats in the northeast of England. The Conservatives have retained Swindon North. Turnout is up in all the seats. An exit poll. Conservatives are on course to be the single biggest party, but not win enough seats to have a parliamentary majority. Our political correspondent Ross Hawkins told us that that means that Theresa May appears likely to face real pressure from within her own party. One Conservative minister tells me that Tory MPs are in full cry, shouting that her two now famous aides, Fiona Neal, need to resign within 5 minutes. Make no mistake about this. If we are winning the bounds of this exit poll, Theresa May faces, at best, an extraordinarily bumpy few days and weeks ahead. The Chief Secretary to the Treasury, David Gott, told us that the result could have an impact on the Brexit negotiations. What is really important for the country is that we get this negotiations right, and there is not unlimited time here. The clock is already ticking. Article 50 has been triggered, and we need a government that can get on and negotiate that deal. The former Labour Foreign Secretary Jack Straw said the exit poll result, if correct, would be a great personal credit to the party leader Jeremy Corbyn. The Liberal Democrats make clear that unlike do any deals. Despite the forecast, if they would lose more than 20 more seats. The Scottish National Party has said they believe they are on course to win the election in Scotland. The SNP has insisted that the real story is the potential failure of the Conservatives to win a majority. The UKIP leader Paul Nuttall has tweeted that if the exit poll is true, then Theresa May has put Brexit in jeopardy. He accused Mrs May of hubris. In the latest results, Labour held Washington and Sunderland West and Tyne and Wear and Newcastle upon Tyne, and the Conservatives have held Kettering. The pound has fallen against the euro and dollar as investors react to the possibility of a hung parliament. Thank you, Susan. 25 to 1. We're going to North West England now. as our reporter there. This is a seat, 5,000 votes last time. Any news? Well, we're seeing some happy faces on the Labour activists here, Jim. In fact, happy faces only for the last 20 minutes or so. I don't think this has been necessarily something that has been easy for them here at this particular seat. In fact, Tory activists were feeling pretty buoyant at 10 o'clock when they heard the exit poll. They were looking pretty blue. In a couple of minutes or so, the returning officer will be heading to the stage and bringing the candidates through shortly. As you say, it was a majority for Labour here, about 4,500, with Sue Hammondy. What was interesting is UKIP got 7,500 votes here at the last election. The question is, where do those 7,500 votes go now? Mike, thanks very much. We'll hear the result. And while we were talking, Nuneaton was declared in Warwickshire. The Conservatives have held that. Marcus Jones, the MP, elected with an increase in the Conservative vote of about 3,000, the Labour vote up by about 4,000. The Workington constituency, I hereby declare that the total number of votes cast for each candidate was as follows. Sue Hayman, Labour Party, 21,000. Hooray! Hooray! 317. Roy Allen, Independent, 278. George Masterton Kim, UK Independence Party, 1,556. Phil Roberts, Liberal Democrat, 1,133. Clark Basie, the Conservative Party, 17,392. Total number of votes cast across the Workington constituency for the UK parliamentary elections of the 8th of June 2017 was 41,731. The total number of rejected ballot papers was 55. Therefore, Sue Hayman is duly elected as for the Workington constituency. If any of the candidates would like to come up and say a few words, then you're welcome to do so. So there we are. This is Workington. I'm looking across at Sue Hayman. I must say, she is looking particularly relieved. I think she had some doubts heading into tonight. Here she is. Well, thank you. Thank you very much, everybody. I'd like to thank the returning officer, all the staff, the police who've been helping out with this election today. I'd like to give a huge thanks to my agents and to my fantastic campaign team for all their hard work. And I'd like to thank all the people in working constituency who put their trust in me to be their Member of Parliament and to continue the work that I've been doing over the past 2 years. So we're winning candidate speech we've heard there in Workington. Broxbourne, by the way, has just come through while we were hearing that. Charles Walker, MP elected, Conservative MP, Tory voted up by about 4,000, Labour vote up, but a healthy Tory majority, 62% of the vote, greater than last time. Labour are confident of taking Thurrock. It's terribly important because it was a three-way fight with UKIP. The working assumption was just about everyone, the UKIP vote would collapse and the Tories would win it. I think that hasn't happened. They think they've won the Vale of Clwyd and they think they've won North Acton, where the Conservative has a 3,000 majority, and the inquest is beginning. One Conservative MP or candidate MP. Our campaign was devoid of hope and optimism. However this works out, some Tories are already asking themselves the question, what went wrong here? Did you mention Michael Ellis there? Yes, Northampton. Now, wasn't he a PPS, or was he an aide to Theresa May, and is now working in the Home Office, or has worked in the Home Office? Yeah. Quite close to Theresa May, yeah. So it could be that there are several members of those that are casualties of those results, if the results were a problem for them as well. There is, though, the suggestion that Labour think there could be a swing against them on the postal votes, quite possibly a significant swing. So there's still a lot that we don't know and we can't see from the figures in front of us. And do the postal votes, Phil, you made that point earlier. I did. What's interesting is that about some of the seats that are coming in at the moment is that the northeastern seats, in seats like, for example, Kettering, as though the Conservatives hold Kettering, it's the Labour vote that goes up more than the Conservative vote. The Broxbourne that we've just had come in. Sure, the Tories hold it, but the Labour vote has gone up by about 11 points. The Tory vote's up by 6. So what we're getting here, in quite a lot of these seats, where you would have expected on everything up until tonight, we're expecting a swing away from the Labour to the Conservatives. We're getting the opposite. None of these so far have been sort of marginal seats that might fall. When you tally that with what we're hearing from sort of sources at the counts and what the parties are beginning to say themselves, the exit poll, whether the exact numbers are right or not, it doesn't sound that far off. Interesting that Nuneaton, which was seen as an early sign of Conservatives doing well in 2015, the state Conservative, what's happened to the Labour vote there? Well, what's really interesting there is that the UKIP vote has collapsed, as we'd expect, along with other parties. But two parties, Conservative and Labour, have gone together. And Nuneaton's really interesting because people think of it because of 2015. They often forget what happened in 2015. They think it was a seat that changed hands, but it wasn't. It didn't. It stayed. It didn't move in.
Hello. If you didn't know, you are watching the Live Art Bistro Election Night Special. We are here with Theresa May's back down until 3 a.m. and we are live and open till 10 a.m. in the morning. We will be here when all the results come in. I'm going to turn the cameras back around now. Thank you for joining us.
What's happening? Good morning, Jim. Yes, the votes are being counted in this old industrial town. The seat is actually centred around the town Accrington. At the moment, we're hearing both from Labour and the Tories. They think it's pretty even Stevens. This is a seat that Labour held last time around with a majority of 4,400. The turnout, we've now got a figure for that. It's just very slightly down on last time. Last time it was 62.8, this time it's 61.9. But what we're hearing from Labour, interestingly, is that they think in their wards that turnout is up by about 9 to 10%. So it might be that the Labour vote has come out, whereas in the rest of the town, not so much. But we're also hearing that any young people who have left the town, students in other parts of the country, registered their votes here and voted here. So it might be that that youth vote has come out for Labour as well. So we've seen the Labour MP, defending MP Graham Jones, who's held the seat, been an MP here since 2015. He has been walking around looking pretty relaxed, but both Labour and the Conservatives they might be being a little modest, but they're both saying they think it will be close. But I think they probably thought that at the beginning of, before that exit poll, expectations might now have changed. Labour majority last time at 4,500. Dominic at Highburn in Lancashire, thanks very much. Sinn Féin President Gerry Adams joins us now from Belfast. Gerry Adams, we don't have the projections for the Northern Ireland seats on our exit poll, do we? But last time Sinn Féin had 4 seats and didn't take them off, of course. Hello, I didn't hear the question. Hello, can you hear me now? Yes, Gerry Adams here, hello. Hello, Gerry Adams. Yes, the Sinn Féin President. Hello. We don't have the projections yet. in the Northern Ireland seats. But what are you hearing? What are you picking up about how the seat share might look there? Well, we're satisfied that we want to commend our leader in the North. We've fought a very good campaign. What that means in terms of seats, it's too early to say what that would be. Relatively confident that we would hold the 4 seats that we had. Whether we win any more, come back at breakfast time. You had hope of taking 1 at least, didn't you, from the Ulster Unionists? Well, yes, that's South Tyrone, but you know, it is early days, and we do know that we got our vote out, but we don't know what our opponents' votes are like there. There isn't as the same exit polling done here with the same precision that appears to be done in Britain, and I think that if that exit poll bears out, it's all about Brexit. It's all about the austerity versus a better way of doing things, and I think Jeremy Corbyn had a remarkable campaign, and I just don't know how Theresa May and this exit poll turns out as it appears will survive this. And your listeners may know or may not know that the people here in the north of Ireland both voted against Brexit, and Theresa May totally and absolutely ignored that, and I think she may have got her comeuppance. We don't want Brexit. You don't want Brexit. We want to return. We don't want to return to the past. We don't want an economic border. I'm very critical of the European Union. Sinn Féin's very critical of the European Union, but from one part of the island to be dragged out of the European Union by the other part, all right. Well, let's see what happens and who takes the Brexit negotiations forward. But you know Jeremy Corbyn very well, don't you? And you know that during the campaign he was criticised for his links with the IRA, with Hamas, statements about shoot to kill. What did you make of all that and the sort of criticism that he was coming in for when it was discussed about the security of the nation? I think it was very, very, very unfair. Jeremy Corbyn was one of those people who did a very basic thing. He accepted that Sinn Féin had a mandate, and he believed that the way to resolve conflicts is to respect people's rights and to talk to them. This nonsense that he supported the IRA and the rest of that, it was just a complete distraction. Well, he stood on platforms, didn't he, with former IRA prisoners, you know, and that's why he was drawn to people's attention. I know, but the Tories are up to their arses. Good man, good man. What's happening in Iraq? And you know, they're shoulder to shoulder with the big arms dealers that we just talked about recently in terms of Saudi. All right. But Jerry Adams is, so if I may say, there's a peace process here, and it shows that the Tory party have no real investment in this peace process, and I think that's a shame. Thank you very much for your time this evening. Thank you. Susan Ray certainly knows what Oxford's on.
Election Night Special. My name is Matt Allen, and we are live
We're going to go back to Glasgow. Interesting things are happening.
Please share this video.
Yes, I am here at the count at the Emirates Stadium with the candidate for Glasgow South, Stuart McDodd, who looks like he's going to be returned as an MP in his constituency, and the SNP Labour MSP, for Glasgow. Good evening to both of you. Stuart McDonald, we're still taking the exit poll with a pinch of salt, but Laura Koonsberg has been talking about the fact that Alex Salmond-Gordon is vulnerable. You've been hearing that. I've not heard that, but Alex Salmond's a big beast. I'm sure he'll be putting up a big fight. I'm sure he will. There's no question we're under caution more than we have been, but we've put up a good fight, and there's no question about it. But what it probably does show is that actually the tactic that was undertaken by Ruth Davidson to keep pushing the idea of Indirect 2 worked, because you don't want to talk about that. You want to talk about other things. But actually, she got the upper hand in that. So that's probably done you a lot of damage. Well, look, I don't know what the Tories will end up with in Scotland, but all three Union parties rather stop the SNP, stop the referendum campaign. If that exit poll turns out they've not stopped the SNP and they've not stopped the referendum because they've won the most seats here in Scotland. So if it's a situation where Theresa May does lose an overall majority and we are talking about some kind of progressive alliance, how would that work with the SNP? We've made it very clear. No ifs, no buts, no deals with the SNP. It's very simple. If we're in a position to form a government, we will put together a Queen's speech and we'll put together a Labour budget and we'll try and get that through the House of Commons. And I would challenge the SNP to even be ushering in a Tory government. It's a Labour government that we've been campaigning for. If you look at where we were in Glasgow in 2015, severely cutting the majorities of the SNP, we've got to look at this election result in the context of where we were at the start of this election campaign. Theresa May called this election campaign because she thought it would be the death of the Labour Party right across the UK. Instead, we've energised the country. In Scotland, but you say that now. You say that now, but the problem for Labour in Scotland is it wants to distance itself as much as possible from Jeremy Corbyn. Now you're going to have to up close and personal. No, absolutely not. Look, what we said in this campaign is you can vote against the referendum. Oh, we're going to interrupt and go to a declaration in Darlington. We can see them standing there. We will hear them any minute. We're going to hear them. Oh, this is Jenny Chapman. Follows Kevin John Brack, UK Independence Party, 1,180. Chapman Jennifer, commonly known as Jenny Chapman, 22,621. Marie, Liberal Democrats, 1,031. Cuthbertson, Peter Malcolm, the Conservative Party, 19,401. Snedco, well, the Conservative vote up there but not enough. The Labour vote up significantly, and Jenny Chapman returned as MP for Darlington. That was a seat that the Conservatives were very hopeful of taking. It's a seat they've held before. It was a seat that in the North East they thought they would definitely take it, but they had much more ambitious targets in the North East, and they've fallen short by about 3,000 votes. So, you know, an indication of where the night is going. Can I add a little something in here? Jenny Chapman, who is the MP and now is the MP, said in 2016 she shares, admires and shares values with Jeremy Corbyn, but says that Labour won't win Darlington with Jeremy Corbyn leading the party. Ah, well they have. Interesting. News from Sheffield. People are saying, including Laura Koonsberg there, that it looks as if Nick Clegg has lost Sheffield Hallam. That isn't confirmed. It hasn't been declared, but that's the talk. And there was also talk that the Conservatives could have lost Shipley, where there was the 9,600 majority. The Tory team aren't convinced of that yet, but their feeling is that canvassing there reflects the exit poll. And you just have to reflect on the point you just made, Carolyn. How many people at senior positions in politics told us that Jeremy Corbyn was a disaster for the Labour Party and they were all doomed, proving to be completely and totally wrong in some parts of the country tonight. I think we're going to be gathering together some previous statements and comparing them with what people are saying now as the results come in, don't you? Oh, let's be careful there, because there's plenty of things I've said in the past that are going to be completely untrue. Just on those two seats, the Sheffield Hallam and Shipley, both of those are seats that the exit poll does not have changing hands. So what could be happening here is that things actually could be better for Labour than the exit poll. The exit poll was right on the cusp of the point at which there would be an anti-Conservative, and 3 words I thought, Prime Minister Corbyn. You're saying those words in what context? I don't think that they're outrageous of a thing to say anymore. Right, well, we'll come back to that. Right. Hello, Lynn. Hello. Hello. You've been through this election lark yourself, haven't you? Yes, I have. I'm very pleased not to be going through it now. You were in Halsey and Wood Green. And let's just look at the exit poll, first of all. Suggesting the Lib Dems could gain seats rather than lose them. So you'd be pleased about that? Yes, I would love the exit poll to be right. Well, you would indeed. I don't have very high expectations. Some of the projections from the press results would have us much, much lower. So I'm kind of hoping the exit poll is right. What about what we're hearing from Sheffield Hallam? Yeah, that would be a tragedy, really. A sort of heartbreaker, if that were to be the case. Why do you think that there is even the possibility of Nick Clegg losing a seat there? Why would that be? I can only think because it's university town, that's all. If the young people came out to vote and were attracted by the tuition-free promise, maybe that was it. And tuition fees, of course, the problem for your party at the last election. Yes, well, forever it would seem. I'm not entirely sure why we made a promise we couldn't keep. It's not just so hard over such a long period that everyone's lost trust in us. I thought we'd begun to rebuild it during the coalition years. The rest of the things that people liked were Liberal Democrat things, and most of the things people hated were Conservative things. The Conservatives got a majority, so there is no justice. However, tonight, low expectations, but we will continue to fight in whatever form that is after the election for the best Brexit deal, because while this election is meant to be about Brexit, it hasn't really turned out to be about Brexit, and yet it is the single most important thing that is going to happen to us. Could you see the Lib Dems doing some sort of deal with Labour now, if there was a chance of stopping a hard Brexit put forward by the Conservatives? Why not? Well, no, at this point in time, don't forget Labour don't really have a position on Brexit. Or Jeremy put the enthusiasm into fighting Brexit that he put into his campaign with this election. We wouldn't be leaving the European Union. So I probably, personally, will never forgive Corbyn for that. However, we've said no coalitions, but that's because they're both Brexit parties. Clearly, there's massive moves tonight, and I have no idea what the discussions will be, but certainly with the supposed Tory landslide and Labour, don't forget, Labour put through Article 50, Labour supported Brexit, so we said absolutely no coalitions. I think Brexit will be a whole big mess. Right. Thank you very much indeed, Lynn Featherstone. We'll be hearing more from you, I'm sure, later. Let's talk to one of the winning candidates tonight. No seat has changed hands, of course, as yet. We've had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Conservative hold, the rest of Labour hold. Sue Haven, Shadow Environment Secretary. Good morning and congratulations to you. Good morning. What do you think produced this result for you? You've got more than 50% of the vote this time, significantly up on the last performance. What made the difference? Well, I mean, I've only been a member of Parliament here for 2 years, but during those 2 years I've tried to work really hard for the constituency, put it on the map down in Westminster. West Cumbria is a long way from London, and people here like to see someone who's a local champion, and that's what I'm trying to be. I also tried to run a very positive campaign. One of the things I've achieved, positive aspects of Labour's manifesto, and what I found here is that people wanted to talk most of all about health and education and like the policies we were putting forward. What did you think of the Corbyn campaign? I thought we ran an excellent campaign, and I think that was shown by the way the polls narrowed. Well, what was distinctive about it? Well, I think we had quite a very good manifesto. It was quite interesting talking to people on the doorstep. Once the manifesto had been published, people were actually looking at it, reading it, wanting to talk about it on the doorstep, which isn't always the case. And I think we kind of gripped the imagination of some of the ideas we had around supporting education and health. And those are two issues particularly important in my constituency. There's a lot of talk about Brexit tonight, yes, and where this leaves things, yes. And in the referendum, your constituency voted 61% to leave. Yes. And in the referendum, your constituency voted 61% to leave. Yes. And in the referendum, your constituency voted 61% to leave. Yes. And in the referendum, your constituency voted 61% to leave. Yes. And in the referendum, your constituency voted 61% to leave. Yes. And in the referendum, your constituency voted 61% to leave. Yes. And in the referendum, your constituency voted 61% to leave. Yes. And in the referendum, your constituency voted 61% to leave. Yes. And in the referendum, your constituency voted 61% to leave. Yes. And in the referendum, your constituency voted 61% to leave. Yes. And in the referendum, your constituency voted 61% to leave. Yes. And in the referendum, your constituency voted 61% to leave. Yes. And in the referendum, your constituency voted 61% to leave. Yes. And in the referendum, your constituency voted 61% to leave. Yes. And in the referendum, your constituency voted 61% to leave. Yes. And in the referendum, your constitu view about where we go with Brexit now, if it's quite a finely balanced parliament, one or the other? Well, the important thing is to get a Brexit that actually means that people here have confidence in the future of their economy, of their businesses. What does that mean? Well, a lot of people in my constituency, it's a rural constituency, and I meet regularly with farmers at the NFU, and their big concern is what's going to happen if we leave the single market. Yeah. We leave the customs union, and then we have a situation with tariffs and substandard food coming in, and they're very keen that we have proper access to the markets without tariffs being slapped on. Well, I think that's something that's going to be talked about a lot before this night is over. Sure it will be. Congratulations. You're re-elected MP in Workington with more than 50% of the vote. Thank you. Boss, let's just speculate a tiny bit about if there is the shift towards Labour that we're talking about. If Labour were to take charge of the Brexit negotiations, lots of ifs there. Lots. Do you see any sense from what Labour have been saying about trying to stay in the customs union, for instance, stay within the single market? Do you think that there would be a sense of a very different approach to Brexit under Labour? Well, the first point here is Labour are not engaging with that question at the moment. They're just in touch with someone very close to Jeremy Corbyn who's just saying, hold on, let's just wait for some numbers here. And frankly, I couldn't damn him for that particular call. If, though, Jeremy Corbyn were to become Prime Minister, he would only be doing it with the support of plenty of other parties. So the question here on the Labour side is not just a case of flicking through the manifesto and trying to make sense of their, frankly, rather vague on some crucial points about Brexit, but also looking at the red lines that would be there from the other parties that could constitute some sort of alliance. Where would the Scottish National Party be? Where would the Lib Dems be? And then to work out whether that is saleable in Europe. And then to work out whether they could form a stable enough government to be able to go to Europe and negotiate. It's worth remembering, I shouldn't have asked you that question. The poll puts Labour 70 short. Right, so it's just after 1 o'clock. It's the news from Susan Ray. Votes are being counted across Britain for the general election, with the exit poll for the BBC, ITV, Sky predicting that no party will win a majority. It says that Conservatives will be the largest party, but will lose 17 seats and end up with 314. The poll says that Labour will gain 34, and the former Labour Home Secretary Jack Straw told us he was feeling more confident about his party's results. Something seems to have happened in the ether, and I kept thinking we were still in for a stuffing. But I think however close the result is to the exit poll, it's fairly clear we're not in for a stuffing. And the loser from this election will be Theresa May, who promised to be strong and stable, but has turned out to be weak and very wobbly. The exit poll says the Lib Dems will gain a handful of seats, while the Scottish National Party will lose more than 20. Nicola Sturgeon's party won a historic 56 out of 59 seats north of the border just 2 years ago. Hamza Yousaf from the SNP told us he'd be surprised if the fall was as big as that. And the worst prediction cast his party as the winner in Scotland. Yes, of course it would be disappointing if we lost that number of seats, but I have to say, I haven't got a sense of that across the country. 10 years in government, I must stress this, 10 years to still come back as the winners of an election with a majority of seats is a heck of a feat. The co-leader of the Green Party, Caroline Lucas, suggested the Conservatives were paying the price for what she called a reckless gamble. She said any Green MPs would never back a Tory government, but would support Labour on a case-by-case basis. The former Conservative Chancellor, George Osborne, said there would have to be an enormous post-mortem on the result and why the election was called. The former Conservative Chancellor, Ken Clarke, who's up for re-election in Rushcliffe in Nottinghamshire, predicted a small Conservative majority. He told us the population was deeply divided. Our politics is changing. It's changing a lot, and we're all trying to catch up with it. I think the opinion has polarised, the public has polarised. There's a slight drift back towards two big parties being the major participants. The Sinn Féin President Jerry Adams told us he was confident Sinn Féin would retain their 4 seats in Northern Ireland. He said if the exit poll was correct, then he believed the Prime Minister was in trouble and explained what might lie behind it. It's all about Brexit. It's all about the austerity versus a better way of doing things. And I think that Jeremy Corbyn had a good campaign, and I just don't know why Theresa May, if this exit poll turns out as it appears, I don't know if she'll survive this. In the past half hour, the Conservatives have retained Nuneaton and Warwickshire, Broxbourne in Hertfordshire, and Basildon and Billericay in Essex. Labour has held the Cumbrian seat of Workington, as well as Darlington in County Durham, and Marginal, which have been a key Tory target. Thanks very much. Now let's go to Yeovil, and Rittler Shah is watching things develop there. What are you hearing, Rittler? Well, I'm hearing lots of things. Lib Dem candidate here in Yeovil, and she said to us on the record that she thinks she hasn't won the seat.
Hello. If you've just tuned in and you're watching at home, you are watching the Live Art Bistro Election Night Special. Thank you so much for joining us at this late hour. It's great that you're watching with us. Please share this video. We have never done anything like this before and are really enjoying it. Please support us on Patreon if you can. We've just launched that today. Thank you so much.
So with 5 weeks to go, Jo Random Green is parachuted in, and she did her best, but she says she started on the back foot, and now she doesn't think she's won. You were suggesting when we spoke earlier that the Labour share might be going up there. It's a seat that's held by the Conservatives at the moment. Is there any suggestion that it may change hands? No. It will stay Conservative. The Conservatives look quietly confident, but I think there's no chance really that Labour will win. However, they are definitely pleased with their share of the vote has gone up, and that may be as much to do with the fact that it is a relatively big turnout, they believe, and lots of young voters, first-time voters, who appear to have cast their votes. Rittler, thank you. And now we're going to Bolsover. Wouldn't normally think of going to Bolsover, in the sense that it's such a safe seat. Now, just into his 80s, the Labour MP, 50% of the vote last time. Bolsover closer than it usually is, Jonathan. What's the score? Yes, Jim. Getting here, Bolsover is going to be closer than it ever has been. Before talking to people at the sports centre, I'm hearing from both sides I've seen with my own eyes Labour activists walking around looking at the votes being verified, and they've all been verified here, been counted here. Those clipboards showing very, very slim differences between Labour and Conservative, in my opinion. Each go around marking off how many votes they think each side has got, and I would say that those are pretty close. Now that is a reflection of that this is a race that's closer than it's ever been before. In Dennis Skinner, in all his 47 years, a declaration now in Swindon South. Keep us posted, Jonathan. 2,809. Sarah Church, Labour and Cooperative Party, 22,345. Martin Paul Costello, UK Independence Party, 1,291. Talis Kimberly Fairbairn, the Green Party, 747. And Stanley James Pajak, Liberal Democrat, 2,079. And there were 87 ballot papers rejected, and I do hereby declare that Robert James Buckland is duly elected as Member of Parliament for South Swindon. Woo! South Swindon. Now, Phil Kelly, you were saying that was one to watch to see if there were any signs. It was one to watch. At the beginning of the night, I wouldn't have gone anywhere near, but based on some of the results we were seeing, there was a potential for Labour to take that seat. So the Conservatives will be relieved to hold Swindon South. A sentence I didn't think I'd be saying. Yeah. Number 61 on Labour's target list. Is that right? Yeah. Oh, we're getting a declaration from Brixton. Brixton now. Brixton. Clyde, give that for the country. Harper Carry. The Party of Wales. 1,753. Cymru, yes, I can go through. Lucas Ian Collin, Welsh Labour, 17,153. Shabith Cymru Abis Saithri Amid 3. Welsh Liberal Democrats, 865. Democratiaeth y Cymru, Iwan King. And I do hereby declare that Ian Lucas is duly elected Member of Parliament for the Wrexham constituency. Labour held Wrexham with increased share of the vote, nearly 50% of the vote. And yeah, and that was a test of Labour support in an area that voted Leave, wasn't it? Ben Lucas, the MP since 2001, Conservative target seat, they would have taken a swing of 2.8%, but Labour have held it. They'll be very pleased to have held it. The site of the U-turn on social care as well, where the most significant speech of the campaign was made. And to the south of Wales, Labour believe that they've taken Cardiff North as well. Financially, by the way, a big Labour majority, of course. And Jarrow also held by Labour. Are we hearing any rumours from Gower? Because it was one of the seats that I visited. It's the most marginal constituency in the UK. Tiny little majority of 27 for the Conservatives. And Labour obviously have big hopes of taking that. The pattern would suggest that it's not a rumour that's reached us yet. Just one thought from George Osborne is on the telly. You must wonder whether it's quite the wise thing not to stand for Parliament again. He said the manifesto's a total disaster, one of the worst manifestos. And then he corrected himself. I said one of the worst, I can't think of the worst one. You get the impression he's enjoying himself. You get the impression he's well, his newspaper's back, the Conservatives. A quick one here, Sylvia Herman is back in the Independent Unionist. Now, North Down her seat, a big majority, not one of the ones that's expected to change. The first of the Northern Ireland results. We haven't had any results from Scotland, incidentally. The returning officer in East Bartonshire, where there's a big fight between the Liberal Democrats and the SNP, has confirmed that the turnout is 78%. Yeah, turnout is up in most places, although it's up slightly less outside the northeast than it is in the northeast. And I just want to make one point about the results we're getting so far. A few minutes ago, I totalled up the two-party vote in the constituencies we had, which at that point were all in England. And Labour and Conservative combined were getting over 90%. Hang on, first seat to change hands tonight has just been declared. Rutherglen and Hamilton West lost by the SNP to Labour. Jed Killen there comes in as the new Labour MP, defeating Margaret Ferrier for the SNP, a seat that Labour didn't really think at the beginning of the campaign, I think it's fair to say, that they could get. It's a pretty close majority, only under, 1,000 votes, but that's a Labour gain from the SNP. It's the first result from Scotland, and it does suggest that the Labour surge in Scotland is there, because that's not a seat that was on the radar. It also suggests, I suspect, that the SNP fall in Scotland, which isn't just to Labour, but it's to Labour in some parts, to the Conservative in other parts of the country, the Liberal Democrats and others. Let's get a comment on that from Clive Lewis. Labour's Clive Lewis. He's at his count in Norwich. And Clive, how's it looking for you then? I think it's looking quite good actually. The turnout's high. we always know a high turnout will hopefully do us very good. We had queues at the University of East Anglia. Students wanted to vote. We knew from very early on that the vote was going to be up, and just anecdotally, we saw young people coming to vote. And areas where turnout can sometimes be quite low, turnout was high. Now, for us, that's a good sign, and it seems to be being borne out in the count so far, where so far, according to the sampling, we look like we've won every ward, every polling district. It looks looking quite good there. What's that say to your colleagues who declared no confidence in Jeremy Corbyn? We've got quotes from your colleagues who say we can never win, not just our own seats, but a range of seats while he's the leader. What does it say to them? I think it says a period of quiet reflection is required, if I'm quite frank. I've had a lot of naysayers across the party, and look, I think it's been a very tough couple of years for the Labour Party, and no one expected this. No one really expected this. But I think when it comes down to what Jeremy Corbyn and the Labour Party and the Labour team have done, I think we need to be quite clear here. If the exit poll is relatively correct, within 20 or so seats, we haven't won. But my God, look at what we've done. Look what we've turned around. No pundits were expecting this. This has gone against political orthodoxy, and it kind of reminds me a bit of Dunkirk. Churchill said you don't win wars by retreating, but we all know that was a turning point. And look, you don't win elections by losing, but this has, a Dunkirkian feel to it. It feels like a bit of a turning point. People here were presented with two very stark contrasts. One was a thin gruel of misery, which was, I think, the Tory manifesto, and the other was a manifesto of hope. And it can be a different way, and I think personally, what we're seeing is a potential turnaround. And there were lots of people from my party who said you couldn't win on this kind of manifesto, and this party was doomed to being obliterated with this kind of manifesto. But I think people need to have a quiet pause for reflection. I don't think we should get carried away at this point in time, but I think people need to sit down, take stock of what's happened, and understand that these are very, very turbulent times at the moment. Clive Lewis, thank you. Talking to Clive Lewis, the Conservatives have held Basildon South and Thurrock East, and Labour have held Stockton North. Paddy O'Connell with some news from Wandsworth in South London. Paddy, Jim, local Tories are telling me they've conceded Battersea. I ran the campaign and we've lost, said one man. The counting staff have told me it's very tight, and we expect two teams' declaration within 5 to 10 minutes with a Labour hold. Sadiq Khan, London Mayor, his previous seat of Tooting, arrived, and he hugged the Labour candidate. The chief executive of the Borough Council is on the stage now, but there's no one else here, Jim. Okay, we'll come to you. That's interesting, if Battersea has changed hands. Ben Gummer, as we were saying, at Ipswich, seems to be in a bit of trouble. Very tight there. Sitting Conservative, of course. It may be very close. Over to Leeds now, and our man Sean Leeds. Yes, indeed. Interesting times. Richard Bergen, MP for Leeds East. Once the home of Dennis Healey, we should remember this is a city that's got variety to its roots at the same time. It's your predecessor, Sir Keith Joseph, for the Conservatives. Now, we think the city is tightening its grip of the city. We've got a real possibility tonight of Labour taking Leeds North West, which has been held for a long time by Greg Mulholland of the Liberal Democrats. And many people thought that the Liberal Democrats, there is no lower for them to go, but it's looking like Labour could be taking that seat. Now, part of that we have seen is a significant rise in the number of new voters. 13,000 registered in that constituency, in a seat where Mr Mulholland, his majority was 2,500. Is that part of the secret of this apparent Labour strong performance, that you've got new voters, and particularly young voters, to register, and not just to register but to actually to vote? Well, even in my own constituency, which isn't a constituency which has a particular student population, I met lots of young people who have been facing economic difficulties and they were voting for the first time, or maybe voting UKIP last time and voting Labour this time. I've actually heard reports that in Leeds North West, in the student ward, and those students aren't many people there, of Headingley, that Labour might have got 80% of the vote in that ward. The other seat that people have been watching tonight lost last time. 422 vote majority for Andrew Jenkins, the majority. There were 7,000 UKIP votes, presumably in the past, until quite recently. You would have suggested those UKIP votes were going straight to the Tories. That's right. The Conservatives banked upon a transfer, lock, stock and barrel, of ex-UKIP votes to Conservative. As things develop tonight, although it's an early stage, it doesn't look like that's the case at all. So at the moment, you're very confident about Leeds North West, less confident about Morley and Outwood. Is that right? Morley and Outwood, it's always going to be a challenging result. Labour didn't win it last time, but there's a great possibility, we could surprise people there, there's a great possibility to have a real shock in Leeds North West, which would be a terrific result. And I'm hearing that Nick Clegg in Sheffield may be about to lose his seat, which will be really historic. Right, where does that leave your man then, Jeremy Corbyn? Effectively, is he secure now as Labour leader in your judgment? Well, I think it's been a really successful campaign. He has pleasantly surprised a lot of people, just as Theresa May has unpleasantly surprised a lot of people. But let's think what Theresa May said about this campaign. She said this general election was about her increasing her majority. Unless she increases her majority, if the result was anything other than a substantial increase, I would say it's a failure on her own terms. So Theresa May is looking like leaving this general election a tarnished figure of not being Prime Minister very long. A tarnished figure would at least, at this stage, still be Prime Minister, and she might even command a majority. Of course that's true, and we'll see what happens tonight. But if the exit poll is true, we don't know if it's going to be true, then she'll have done less well than David Cameron, and she will go in without a majority, which who'd have thought that a few weeks ago? You surprised yourselves in this election campaign. I think that we're pleasantly surprised the way the campaign's going. We always knew we had the policies, but we've had such opposition from what we say in the establishment in Westminster and certain aspects of the media, not Radio 4 of course, and elsewhere. I think we've surprised a lot of people. But in terms of surprises, I think that Jeremy Corbyn and Labour have pleasantly surprised people during this campaign, and Theresa May have unpleasantly surprised people. And a lot of Conservatives now, I think, will be thinking, bring back David Cameron, all's forgiven. Thank you very much. Well, there's a thought. 21 minutes past 1. Let me just update you. We've had 25 seats declared. Actually, it's just gone up to 26. One change of seat, and that's in Rutherglen on the fringes of Glasgow, where Labour have taken a seat from the SNP. Everything else is held. Conservatives have held 8 seats, Labour have held 16, and they've won that one. And there's one independent re-elected in Northern Ireland. That's where we stand at 20 past 1 in the morning. We're going to get a great rush of seats over the next hour and a half. We'll begin to see if those predictions in the exit polls, which suggest Conservatives' largest party but without a working majority, turn out to be correct. Interesting that Clive Lewis was describing it as a Dunkirk moment. He wasn't overplaying the exit poll, but quietly optimistic. You can see why Labour think that they think they've got Anna Soubry's seat as enthusiastic as campaigning are likely to meet. They think they've gained Pudsley's seat, Stuart Andrews' seat. So a couple of Conservative seats you wouldn't have thought on the cards at the start of the evening. That's just Labour's take on the result. Battersea result, we haven't had that yet. No. Again, the suggestion that Jane Ellison, well, the candidate, I think, So Paddy told us that it's probably more of an anticipated Labour gain if it comes. We'll be going to Tooting to get the result from there in a minute. Held by Sadiq Khan, Mayor of London. We're getting it now. Tooting constituency held on the Thursday, the 8th of June 2017. I, James Mahon, being the returning officer for the Tooting constituency, hereby give notice the total number of votes given for each candidate at the election is as follows. Rosanna Chantel Anin Khan, Labour Party, 34,000. 34,694. Ryan Cossell, UK Independence Party, 339. Alexander James Glaswood, Liberal Democrats, 3,057. Esther O'Beary Darko, Green Party, 845. Daniel Richard Watkins, the Conservative Party candidate, 19,236. I do hereby declare Rosanna Chantel Anning Khan is duly elected. It's all said and done for Labour's candidate here. She has greatly increased her majority. It's a Labour hold here in Tooting. She's stepping to the microphone. Morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
First of all, I would like to say a big thank you to the other candidates for a heartfelt campaign. Thank you also to the returning officer, the police and everyone who has worked and put on the election today. I am so honoured to have been re-elected as your Member of Parliament. Woo! Tooting is and always has been home. This area, this community matters so much to me, and today Tooting has spoken. Tooting has sent a clear message to Theresa May. We will not stand by while you force so many of our children to rely on food banks. We will not be silenced when you are responsible for undermining the great team at Tooting St George's Hospital, where I am proud to be an A&E doctor. We will not allow you to damage our children's future with your education cuts. We will not stand by and let you impose an extreme Brexit on Tooting. That risks the feelings of our friends and neighbours and jeopardises local businesses. We want to invest in the next generation with a fully funded schools, and every child deserves to fulfil their potential. We want to fix it. Well, there we are. The victor in Tooting. Tooting has spoken, she said. Sent a clear message to Theresa May. We don't want the hard Brexit that she was selling. Interesting that it was Conservative target number 24. And it's been a Conservative target for several of the last general elections. Now, of course, there was a by-election there after Sadiq Khan became London Mayor, and Labour held it more comfortably, so it's not quite as impressive a result as it looks if you just compare it with 2 years ago, but still, it's a pretty impressive outcome. We weren't talking about it in terms of the Conservatives would have to take it to build for a landslide. Remember when we were talking about possibilities of landslides? No one's talking about landslides anymore. I just want to go back to Rutherglen, which is so far the only one to change hands. Astonishing fall for the SNP. Well, talking of the SNP, let's go to the northeast of Scotland, where they're defending a whole bunch of seats. One of them is Murray Hill, where the Westminster leader of the SNP, Angus Robertson. Keith, what have you got there on the ground? Well, what we've got now is the second stage of counting here at Murray, with votes put in large pens, like big baskets, at one end of the town hall. And you can see, from my vantage point, looking down on these pens, you can see the votes for the Conservative Party, Douglas Ross, really stacking up and going ahead of Angus Ross. So those particular votes are coming from different areas. You've got to be very careful. But despite all of that, the delivery of these counted ballots, more are going to the Conservative side. So our original expectation is we'd get Murray at 3 o'clock. No, I think we'll get it before that. I think we'll get it around 2 o'clock. It's a huge target for the Conservatives. I think it's definitely... It could be a downfall for Angus Robertson. Both candidates are here, and they're putting putting on rather guarded smiles, not giving too much away as you might expect. But the young man, 34 years of age, worked as a dairyman and of course famously has run the line as a linesman for football matches. Oh, Elgin City Borough Breaks, here we go. Keith O'Donnell, very good. Thanks very much. We'll talk to you later for that result. Rumours coming out of Bath, by the way, that Liberal Democrats may be in a good position there to take from the Conservatives. Let's get a quick word from Dudley. 2 seats, Dudley North held by Labour, Dudley South held by Conservatives until now. What are you hearing? Any changes, Steve Allen? High compliments in Dudley North. That's held by Labour. He's got a majority of 4,100, just over. But Les Jones, a former council leader in Dudley, has spoken to him directly and he seems very confident. His team have described it as based just on verification at this stage. We've just started counting. Started officially counting, but they're very confident of claiming victory in Dudley North. Labour's held this for 12 years, a 4,200 majority almost. It appears that the UKIP vote are going towards the Conservatives. Right. It appears that UKIP voters might like the idea of a hard Brexit, which Theresa May's been talking about. Bill Etheridge, he's been saying, where are our votes? It's a bit sarcastic, but what he did say, alright, Paul Nuttall needs to face some serious questions for UKIP about their message. Right, well, we'll pursue that later on in the programme. And now it is 1:30, and here is the news. The first results have been declared in the general election after an exit poll for the BBC, ITV and Sky suggested that the UK was heading for a hung parliament. The first seat to change hands tonight is Rutherglen in Hamilton West in South Lanarkshire, which Labour have gained from the SNP. And the leaders, Susan, I'm going to interrupt you because Tom Watson, leader of the Labour Party, has just been re-elected in West Bromwich. It's not a surprise in itself, of course, but he's speaking there. I will continue to work for all people in our community. My congratulations and my respects to all of my opponents. You've all fought a very good campaign, a fair campaign, and in the right spirits. Thank you for putting yourselves forward, and my very best wishes to you all for the future. We still don't know the final results of this election. It is too early to say, but it looks like we've lost the crucial sentence though, but it's a very happy looking Tom Watson. I'm sorry, the line went down. We'll go back to those. We'll go back. The Conservatives have held Swindon South, Harrogate and Knaresborough and Basildon South and Thurrock East. Labour have held Tooting, Jarrow, Halter and Cheshire, Stockton North, Lee and Macclesfield and Greater Manchester, Wigan and Wrexham, another seat the Tory had hoped to take. Jeremy Corbyn's party has also held the Tea Quarry target of Darlington, with a majority of 3,248. In Northern Ireland, Sylvia Lady Herbert has held the seat of North Downs, an independent. The Shadow Environment Secretary, Sir Heyman, held the seat of Wayman in Cumbria. Her constituency voted 61% to leave the EU referendum, but she told us people there were very worried about no longer being part of the single market. It's a big rural constituency, and I meet regularly with farmers and the NFU, and their big concern is what's going to happen if we leave the single market, we leave the customs union, and then we have a situation with tariffs and potential substandard food coming in. So they're very keen that we have proper access to markets without tariffs being slapped on, and that's a very big issue. The exit poll predicts the Conservatives will be the largest party but will lose 17 seats to fall short of an overall majority. The International Trade Secretary, Liam Fox, refused to discuss suggestions that Theresa May's future might be in doubt, as the Tories do as badly as the polls suggest. He insisted that the party would support her. I think she was right to call the election, not just in terms of what she might get from a majority. I think it was a brave decision, but because we're actually there for a parliament that runs to 2022 and give us extra time for this Brexit negotiations. Previously would have been very much up against it with a decision to leave in March 2019, an election following that in the spring of 2020. The Democratic Unionist, Sir Geoffrey Donaldson, says the prospect of a hung parliament means his parliament could be poised to exert significant influence in Westminster. He says they have a lot in common with the Conservatives. The Liberal Democrats have ruled out a coalition. The pound has fallen in response to this prospect of a hung parliament. Sterling dropped initially by about 1.5% against the dollar, about 1% against the euro. After the first 13 constituency results out of 650, the turnout was up nearly 5%. Thanks, Susan. Just some results that have been coming in while we've been giving us the news. West Bromwich East, Tom Watson's back for the Labour Party. 2 DUP strongholds in Northern Ireland remain. Chelmsford held by Conservatives. Conservatives have held Harlow. And Murray Black, the SNP from Paisley, has been returned. Yes, and we're just seeing if we can get back to Tom Watson. No, we can't. Unfortunately not. We would have liked to have heard him, but he, Deputy Labour leader, has won his seat, which he would be very pleased to know about. Ross, what do you make of what we're hearing so far? Not many changes of hands, but nevertheless, a blizzard of Labour, if you can have such a thing. They are very positive. Stockton South, James Wharton's seat, our college in Wales. They're confident they'll hold Enfield North, where former MP. They may gain Enfield South. Work your way through, and you hear lots of sort of positive Labour news. One intriguing question, I haven't talked much about Twitter, put by Sam Coates at the Times on Twitter, a terribly important one is, if there were a small Conservative majority, a perfectly possible outcome with all we know, could the Conservatives then push through a Brexit of their own design? How confident could they be about delivering that? I mean, that is a profound, that is a big question. If there was a small Conservative majority and there were 6, 7, 8, 9 MPs from Scotland, would we hear much about English votes for English laws? Would Theresa May say, these Scottish MPs, given the argument she used to use against Labour, why should they vote on English matters? That would be a rather intriguing little constitutional boil, wouldn't it? The future of English votes could go the same way as Fixed Parliament, who knows? All sorts of Cameroonian constitutional talking of Scotland, Glasgow, Kirsty Wall. Hi there, seems like exciting nights in Glasgow. Some very worried SNP candidates in Glasgow Central and indeed Glasgow East. Glasgow Central was taken with a 35 swing to the SNP in 2015. Glasgow East a 32% swing. Both of these seats are very vulnerable to Labour, which is quite extraordinary, given that in the local election recently, Labour lost over control in Glasgow. But now it looks like the SNP is going to get a bit of control. And just picking up on what you were saying there, Jim, the idea that Theresa May might have a very small majority and that she'll be propped up by the possibility of 9, 10, 11 MPs from Scotland. That would be one of the most extraordinary developments in modern political history. As some Conservatives said in the last Parliament, they should vote on the health service in England and the environmental England. Well, the bridge is on the other foot now, isn't it? But yes, of course, Ruth Davidson wanted us to stay having access to the single market, even if it meant free movement of people, and she might be in a position to exert some power. Well, look, there's a lot going on. Glasgow Central exceeds any expectations that Labour had. Well, it's not for definite, but people are looking very chipper on Labour's side, down on the SNP side. There's another question about Eastern Berkshire, the very closely fought seat. Joe Swinson, former Liberal Democrat. Oh, hang on. Oh, we've got a result in Burnley. So Burnley, sorry, Kirsty, must go. 2,472. Cooper, Julie Elizabeth, Labour Party, 18,831. Fisk Laura, the Green Party, 461. White Paul, the Conservative Party, 12,471. There were 63 rejected ballot papers, and the turnout was 62.3%. And I hereby declare that Julie Elizabeth Cooper is duly elected. Thank you. I would like to hereby thank the returning officer for his work tonight, and I'd also like to pay a tribute to the staff of the Burnley Council and everyone who's helped me with good grace that they've carried it out. I'm sure all the... so that was a hold for Labour here in Burnley. The real story though, the Conservatives more than doubling their 2015 result, 5,000 to 12,000 votes, and the Liberal Democrat, who was the MP, 2,093. There we are. We were hearing from Jones there saying that the Conservative share of the vote had gone up, but it is a Labour hold in Burnley. The pattern of the night so far. It's worth pointing out so far that we're talking about seismic night, that the swing is 1%. You know, it's 1% in the opposite direction of what we're just... There's only 1%. You're not going to get an awful lot of seats changing hands on a swing of 1%. Even the turnout, which we were getting excited about at the beginning, up by 5-6% in some seats, that's gone up by about 3%. Once you take all the seats so far. You talk about Labour and Tory swing, but what's happened in Scotland? Kirsty's picking up the right rumours about Glasgow. I think you're about to see big changes in two places, London and Scotland. And maybe possibly as well Wales. Because we just have Clwyd in it. Labour have gained Vale of Clwyd from the Tories. Yes. As we speak. The previous MP standing against Yeovil. We're going to Yeovil.
Are we? I don't want to go to Yeovil.
I thought we were getting a declaration. My apologies. I think we are just about to. Looks like somebody's ready to talk. Somebody's waving. Oh, they've gone. Conservatives have held over. Clwyd South has been held by Labour. Neither of those is a surprise. A very safe Labour seat. Paisley and Renfrewshire South, Murray Black as SNP MP re-elected. And Justin Greening, it looks as though she has held her seat in Putney. That's one of those big names. Hooray! Woo! Justin Greening, Education Secretary. Thank you very much, Mr Mayor. I'm delighted to have been re-elected as the Member of Parliament for Putney, Roehampton, Southfields. This has been an election very much fought in the shadow of terrorism, including here in London. But in every single community there have been votes cast for different parties, but they've all had one thing in common, and that is every single vote cast in this election has been a vote against those who want to threaten our way of life, and for all of us who believe in our democracy. That's something that's hugely important. 2 years ago, when I was elected, I talked about how much opportunity and social mobility meant for me. Something that I know from my own personal experience of being the first person in my family to go to university. In fact, when I got involved in politics, no one in my family had ever been involved in politics before, and it was something completely new for all of us. But I got involved, not because I had a big life mission. Here we are, that was Justin Greening, the Education Secretary. Huge change in politics. Vast changes, swing of 10% from Conservatives to Labour. Having just said there's a very small amount of change, the seats so far in London, Tooting and Putney, massive shifts. And Battersea, we haven't had the result officially yet, but we believe it's gone. I'm hearing that the Conservatives acknowledge they've lost Bath. If Putney can go from a majority of over 20% down to a majority now of just 3%, there's going to be some very interesting London results. Yes. Could you give us a sense of the numbers of seats in London that we could be looking at that will be really significant? Well, before the night I would have said that London was pretty marginal in terms of seats that were going to change hands. There are 3 or 4 that were interesting. If you're getting those sort of swings in London, you're suddenly opening up, particularly if the Lib Dems start to make advances as well, you're opening up 10 to 15 Liberal Democrats have got high hopes of Vauxhall. Yeah, Vauxhall, Twickenham, they're pretty confident. It's hopefully going the way it's going for them. In Twickenham, are we hearing anything from Richmond? Fascinating fight in Richmond Park, of course. Well, Samira Ahmed is at Richmond right now, so let's have a listen to what she's got to say. Well, we look like we might get a result within the hour. We reckon in Twickenham. What we already know in Twickenham, which is currently Conservative, Vince Cable was surprised to lose it in 2015. The turnout has been up a little. It's 79.7%. Certain indications we get talking to activists on the floor, quietly confident they do think they can win it back. The sense that they got out on the streets canvassing as well was that there was an element of a protest vote in 2015. People were disillusioned with the coalition. People angry now about Europe, saying they were European and they were turning out. Richmond Park, though, much less clear. This is a seat that the Conservatives think they can win back under Zach Goldsmith. 76.64%. Much more interesting. Obviously, Lib Dems desperately keen to hold it, but the whole strategy of going for the anti-Brexit vote is not, I think, the biggest factor there. And it is interesting how Zach Goldsmith, having said I'm not a Conservative, I have to stand as an independent, losing it, is now back as a Conservative, it seems. We think to have a good chance, it seems, certainly very close from what we can tell talking to activists in Richmond Park. Interesting in such a Remain seat as Richmond, isn't it? I think so. Zach Goldsmith was very much a lead candidate. The by-election that he called over Heathrow absolutely backfired for him. It seemed like a real moment. It started this rebellion for the 48%. What one does sense in the huge increase in turnout for the general election, not a by-election, is that there are a lot of people. It's a very, very affluent constituency, and that is a factor. And there's a lot of people who at heart are Tory voters who stayed away in the by-election may well be coming back and voting for him. And certainly it's too early to call. We do expect it to be close. It's always been a marginal Tory Lib Dem. It's changed hands. All right. Thank you. A couple ones came in while we were talking. Hertfordshire held by the Conservatives and Berkshire West held by the SNP with a hugely reduced majority. We're going now, I think, to Belfast, and Chris Page is there to tell us interesting news from Foyle, which is a constituency right on the border, the northwest of the province. Yes, that's right. Foyle, since the seat was created, has been a stronghold of the nationalist SDLP, but it looks like tonight that seat has fallen to Sinn Féin. Now, if that is the case, it's not official yet, but Sinn Féin certainly very confident they've just about edged it with their candidate, Lisa McCallion, who is standing against the SDLP. If that was the case, then that was a massive result for Sinn Féin, and it suggests that the SDLP could be heading for a very bad night here, and they could lose all 3 of their MPs. Sinn Féin think they may be able to take the constituency of South Down from the SDLP, and the DUP seem pretty confident that they'll be in line to take South Belfast, which will be the last remaining SDLP seat. So the story that's spreading across Northern Ireland tonight, Jim, is strong performances from the DUP and Sinn Féin, the smaller parties, the SDLP and the Ulster Unionist Party, also under a lot of pressure from the DUP. Chris, what about the alliance within Belfast East, where they were hoping to challenge Gavin Donaldson, the sitting DUP member, very strongly? Yes, Gavin Robinson. No worries, yes. Gavin Robinson has just arrived at the count in the last few minutes. He's looking very happy indeed. Alliance sources tell me that their vote has held up in the east of the city pretty well. The DUP have surged ahead. consequences, obviously, as we've heard from Jeffrey earlier in the programme. Would you expect the DUP to come back? Sylvie Herman already there as an independent. At the moment, I think the DUP certainly will hold all 8 of their seats, and I think they could be on for 9 or even 10 at the moment. They seem confident. If they get 10 seats, that'll be their best. Okay, Chris Page in Belfast, thanks very much. We're going to Yeovil for a declaration. Yeovil constituency declare that the total number of votes cast across the Yeovil constituency at the UK parliamentary election on the 8th of June 2017 was 59,498. The total number of ballot papers rejected was 94. The total number of votes given to each candidate was as follows. Marcus John Hudson Fish, the Conservative Party candidate, 32,369. Ian James Martin, Labour Party, 7,418. Katie Pritchard, Independent, 919. Joe Rundle Green, Liberal Democrat, 17,646. Robert Charles Wood, Green Party, 1,052. Therefore, I give public notice that Marcus John Hudson Fish is duly elected as the Member of Parliament for Yeovil constituency. Rittler was suggesting earlier that the Lib Dems had recognised that they were not going to get Yeovil back. What does that indicate to you, Phil? Conservatives held it. I'm not surprised by that, by what we've been seeing so far at all, actually. I wasn't expecting them to regain Yeovil particularly, but we've got a result in Angus. Tell us about that. That's a Conservative gain from the SNP. It is. It's the first Conservative gain of the night. The former keyboard player for Runrig was the MP. Sorry, that's for North Bearfield. Angus. Well, who knows? Well, if he's listening, I do apologise. Yeah. Okay, let's stick with Angus. And Mike Weir was the SNP, the MP there. It's now gone to Conservatives. It's the first Conservative gain of the night, with the majority getting rid of a majority of 12,000. Yes. But you've seen quite dramatic drops in several of the SNP. If the result is what it looks like in Angus, the Conservatives are on track to do very, very well. One of the ironies about tonight is if somehow Theresa May manages either to scrape a majority, which I think is now looking extremely unlikely, or even to get close enough to be able to stay in power propped up by parties from Northern Ireland, it will be because of the success of Conservatives in Scotland. Theresa May's permission now rests almost entirely on Conservatives in Scotland, and I repeat, there's an interesting argument as to whether those Conservatives who said that Scottish MPs shouldn't vote on things which would devolve in England, whether she can say she can use those Conservatives' votes in England. I think, indeed, that's an interesting argument take on Brexit. The fundamental problem behind this election was not a big enough majority to do what the Prime Minister wanted. Ruth Davidson is a very successful leader of the Scottish Labour Conservative Party. Absolutely unapologetic and enthusiastic Remainer in the European referendum. Just one little point as well. We could go on like this forever, couldn't we? We could. We keep thinking of new things to say. The winter fuel allowance. Ruth Davidson was adamant that the Scottish Conservatives did not want to take that away. Fascinating. Hartlepool Declaration. Held on the 8th of June 2017. Do hereby give notice. The number of votes recorded for each candidate was, at said election, is as follows. Broughton Philip, UK Independence Party, UKIP, 4,801. suggests that the Conservative figures party may not get enough seats to form a majority. Conservative sources have suggested that such an outcome would put Theresa May under severe pressure. The International Trade Secretary Liam Fox insisted that Mrs May had been right to call this snap election and said that the party would back her. Fox suggests Labour has defied the campaign expectations of economics. It indicates they will instead gain 34 seats. Labour is the Labour candidate for March and an ally of the Labour Jeremy Corbyn. He said Mr Corbyn's campaign to the party needed a period of quiet reflection. There are a lot of naysayers across the party, and I don't know, it's been a tough couple of years for the Labour Party. And no one expected this. No one really expected this. But I think when it comes down to what Jeremy Corbyn and the Labour Party and the Labour team have done, I think we need to be quite believing. If the exit poll is relatively correct, within 20 or so seats, we haven't won, but my God, look what we've done, look what we've turned around. The exit poll predicts a major shake-up of the electoral map in Scotland, indicating that the Scottish National Party will lose 22 of their 56 seats. The party's leader in Westminster, Angus Robertson, may be one of those to lose their seats. Well, gave us an update from Glasgow. Some very worried SNP candidates in Glasgow Central and Glasgow East. Glasgow Central has taken a 35% swing to the SNP in 2015. Glasgow East a 32% swing. Both of these seats look very vulnerable to Labour, which is quite extraordinary, given that only in the local elections recently, Labour lost overall control in Glasgow recently. But now it looks like the SNP is going to get a bit of trouble. UKIP support has fallen significantly, as many experts have predicted. However, their vote doesn't appear to have gone exclusively to the Conservatives, as our political editor Laura Koonsberg explains. The expectation at the beginning of this campaign, what the local election results suggested, was that the UKIP vote would go primarily and potentially quite dramatically to the Tories. From the actual results that we're seeing tonight, that is not happening. And it may well be that the Tories made a strategic mistake by assuming that UKIP voters were basically Tories in disguise. The UKIP MEP, Bill Etheridge, who was standing in Dudley North, said that party activists have been failed by the UKIP leadership. They've been badly let down by an appalling national campaign, wrong priorities, wrong advice, wrong focus. Nationally, this UKIP campaign has been absolutely appalling. And I want to apologise, really, to all of those people who've gone out there and worked their socks off for this party when they've been so badly let down by our national leadership, completely out of touch with the electoral needed. In the past half hour, Labour has held Burnley, West Bromwich East and Morley in the West Midlands, as well as Knowsley in Merseyside, Oxford East, Pontypridd, Liverpool Riverside and Wolverhampton North East. Mary Black has retained Paisley and Renfrewshire South for the SNP. The SNP has also held on to Berkshire West and Dundee West. Plaid Cymru have retained Carmarthen East. Turnout has been up in many of the contests. The pound has fallen against the dollar and euro on the money markets. Thanks very much, Susan. Torbay held by the Tories. Mid-Bedfordshire held by the Conservatives. Delyn held by Labour. Falkirk by the SNP. Ealing Central and Acton Hill held by Labour. East Londonderry DV Stronghold held. Preston Ogmore held by Labour. Paisley Renfrewshire North. Strathen and Lismore held by the SNP. Semi-Katacha at Westmoreland and Lonsdale took down the seat, leaving the Liberal Democrats. What's happening? Well, we thought we were going to get a declaration after the war. And the staff here were just told that they were doing a full declaration. Exactly. Very close. That's the number of England. It's just 1,000 votes. It's remarkable, isn't it? Absolutely. If you think about it, this man won with a majority of 9,000 in 2015 election. There was an even larger majority, 12,000 votes. So to have shrunk that majority to only a couple of thousand would be a very big deal. Funny to think that if Angus Robertson loses his seats and Tom Brown loses his seats, and Theresa May is in difficulty because Jeremy Corbyn is needed to come out of this election. It's turning out to be an extraordinary election. What Tom Brown has done here is he's been riding the anti-Brexit sentiment, and that's of his constituents voted to leave the EU. The Tories say they've worked very hard to convince those people to vote for them. So Michael Farron, almost a homophonic name, if you know what I mean. That's been revisited. Actually, no surprise there. State Conservative. Let's hear the story from Hungary. those rallies has actually resonated with the wider electorate? Well, it looks like from the polling tonight it has. But to what degree, we still wait to see. And what role he will now play in the future politics of this country will be a matter of great interest. He's getting used to this wild applause, isn't he? There he goes. Yes, he's come to enjoy it. We saw at the start of the campaign, he was sometimes on the back foot, sometimes a little bit nervous. As he's done more events, the crowds have got bigger, he's relaxed, he's got more confident, he's been at ease with the big crowds and with people individually. At every event he's made time to talk to people, to have pictures taken, especially with young people, to sign messages, autographs for them. And really, he has been enjoying this campaign as a bit of momentum has built as he's taken a positive mood with him. Alright, well, we'll be back with you when we hear the declaration. Thanks very much. Jane Allison, Financial Secretary to the Treasury, whose boss, Phil Hammond, incidentally, has just been re-elected in Runnymede. Good morning. What went wrong? Well, look, the time for reflection is not right now. It's clear, as I said in my remarks after the declaration, that Brexit was, very much a topic on people's lips. It's a matter of, I'm sorry, Jane, I'm going to have to interrupt. Declaration from Murray in Scotland. Okay, all right, okay. The total number of votes polled for as follows. Anne Betty Glenn, 204 votes. Joe Kirby, Scottish Labour Party, 5,208 votes. Alec Linklater, Scottish Liberal Democrats, 1,078. Angus Robertson, exceeds their expectations. And almost the whole night exceeds Labour expectations. I mean, that's one of the things which we're kind of skipping over a bit here in some of this discussion, is that nobody in the Labour Party expected some of these results. I mean, absolutely nobody. People were door knocking, didn't expect this. The leaders team didn't expect this. And looking at leadership and who's done well and who's done badly, clearly, whatever the final totals are, Jeremy Corbyn, although he will not have more seats than the Conservatives, the way we look at it now, comes out of this as somebody who's done much better than he was projected to most people who spoke about it. Theresa May has failed to do what she said the election was all about, and to the extent that she may be the biggest party, that it will all depend on Ruth Davidson and Remainer, who has picked up seats against the Nationalist tide in Scotland, what looks like very considerable numbers. It may well be that Tory gains in Scotland double figures. Indeed, because we hope for 5 or 6. Some of the ones they've already taken are more ambitious than those. So, quite right. It is, Theresa May is going to end up at the end of this as the leader of the largest party in the House of Commons, and on the current BBC projection, with easily enough seats, as long as she can do deals with the unionists to at least govern. But there's a difference between the arithmetic position and the actual political practicalities of the party, even before you get into issues about English votes for English laws, the difference between what the Scottish MPs want and what the English MPs want. By the way, talking of the DUP, they've taken a seat from the UUP, South Antrim. Paul Girvan has taken that seat, relatively small majority, but it's gone from DUP to UUP to DUP. Rochdale remains Labour. South End West remains Conservative. The SNP have held Ayrshire North and Arran. Canning Valley remains Labour. Cambridge South Conservative. Wavertree remains Labour. And I remember that South Antrim one, which 2:30. A brief burst of news from Susan May. It's turning out to be a bad night for the Conservatives in the general election. The first results in the general election suggesting the party may struggle to retain its overall majority. The revised exit poll just published suggests the Tories will get 322 seats, just enough for them to govern with the support of the DUP. The party has already failed to take a number of marginal Labour seats that it hoped to win, and has lost the Vale of Clwyd, Stockton South, Bury North and Battersea in London. For the Financial Secretary to the Treasury fell victim to Labour's strong showing. The Conservatives have made gains in Scotland. They've claimed one of the most high-profile casualties of the night so far, taking the seat of Murray from the SNP leader at Westminster, Angus Robertson. They've also taken Angus from the SNP. Labour's deputy leader Tom Watson has retained his West Bromwich East seat, said he'd never known so many issues being discussed during an election campaign, something he said was down to Jeremy Corbyn's leadership. The health service, defence, security, terror, transport, infrastructure, quality of life, housing, future for young people, security for pensions. These are all issues in this campaign in a way that we were told this was going to be a referendum on leadership and on Brexit alone. And it seems to me that be careful what you wish for when you have unnecessary and uncalled for general elections. The former UKIP leader, Nigel Farage, said he was considering returning to frontline politics, even though it's not what he wants, to fight for Brexit. Mrs May went for the big majority. She was found out, I think, in this campaign. And what's remarkable about Corbyn's achievement is he's getting Remainers in London voting for him, but he's getting UKIP voters around the rest of the country voting for him too. He's not going to be able to form a government on his own, if it works out that way. But if we get a coalition, then we may well be looking down the barrel of a second referendum. In Scotland, the SNP has also lost seats, Angus to the Conservatives, and Rutherglen and Hamilton West to Labour. In other results, Labour has held Blaenau Gwent, Newport West, Caerphilly, Gateshead, Preston, Wolverhampton East, and Wallasey. The party also retained the ultra-marginal seat of Ealing Central. The SNP have successfully defended Dundee West and East Kilbride. The Conservatives have retained Fareham, Bracknell, Hemel Hempstead, Epping, Burton, Leicestershire North West, Colchester, Surrey East. The Defence Secretary, Sir Michael Fallon, has also held Sevenoaks. The Chancellor, Philip Hammond, has retained Runnymede and Weybridge. The pollster, Professor John Curtis, said the results so far were in line with the exit poll, and it was clear the Conservative majority was under threat and may only be retained as a result of gains by the party in Scotland. Sterling has fallen amid fears that the financial market of hung Parliament is down 2% against the dollar. Thank you. Phil, quick word about Southport. Yeah, Southport has gone to the Conservatives. It's the first Conservative gain in England. They've taken it from the Liberal Democrats. Liberal Democrats have fallen to third place in Southport. So, yeah, a fairly comfortable victory over Labour. That revised poll over Labour, has it taken into account different accounts for the Lib Dems or not? The projection for the Lib Dems on the forecast was 13, which is roughly 14. The SNP on 32 now, which was on 34, so slightly worse for them. It is worth pointing out, though, that if there has been a change so far from the original exit poll, it is that the BBC's projection is slightly better for the Conservatives now than it was at the beginning of the night. We're joined by Jonathan Bardsley, co-leader of the Green Party. Mr. Bartley, I know you've been held waiting in the queue, as it were. There's a lot happening, sorry about that. It's very exciting. Why is it exciting for you? Well, we've been looking at how this might play out, pushing the idea of a progressive alliance for several years now, recognising that this election has also been framed by Brexit, that we would be squeezed, but also saying we can stand aside in 24 constituencies and let's do what's good for the country. Well, look, we don't know how the arithmetic's going to play out, but we do know that it's likely that the Conservatives will be the biggest party, but they won't have an easy working majority. Let's put it like that. It's going to be somewhere in this area. How do you think that changes the Brexit argument? Well, it clearly means that every single MP whose voice really counts, from candidates who I hope will be returned in the Brighton Pavilion to Ken Clarke, who joins the Conservative front benches now. It does change the dynamic completely, and Theresa May has really not just made a monumental misjudgment, but she's been absolutely reckless with, throwing a dice and seeing where it lands, making what we can only assume is a political calculation, an opportunistic one, and it's, the Brexit negotiations 11 days away. This throws everything up in the air. Yeah, but I take it from what you say that you obviously hope that Caroline Lucas will be returned in the Brighton Pavilion. You're not expecting to pick anything else up. I think, our goal was to get Caroline returned because it's a snap election. You need 2 years really hard campaigning to be able to win a seat under first past the post. So if we get Caroline returned, that'll be a job done for us, certainly. Your view is that on the opposition benches, assuming the Conservatives are the biggest party, which is overwhelmingly likely, but may have to depend on the Democratic Unionist, for example, you think that what's going to happen in the opposition benches is going to make the Parliament completely different? I mean, this is something new happening. There is something new. Things are changing hugely. This isn't just a simple, swing one way or the other. Changes in Scotland and Conservatives taking seats of the SNP. Things are changing. This is the new terrain. This is the new politics. Yes, there's a squeeze back to the two big parties, but the long-term trend is absolutely clear. We've been campaigning very, very hard for a change in the electoral system, and this is something we would like to see come out of this, because we need those choices. We need coherence. We need fair representation. And yes, parties will be squeezed in some elections, and we'll see big changes in other elections. But where it's heading, we need a 21st century system to cope with this kind of change. Jonathan Bardsley, co-leader of the Green Party, thank you very much for joining us. As we're talking, confirmation that Sinn Féin have beaten the SDLP formidable figure of the national side of politics in Northern Ireland, in Foyle. That's the constituency, well, on the river, on the northwest of Northern Ireland. Tories have held Monmouth, Sheffield South East, Labour Bromsgrove held by the South by the Tories, Westminster North, Karen Buck held by Labour. If Foyle has gone as it has to Sinn Féin, that's actually good for Theresa May because they won't take their seats. It is suddenly one seat easier to get a majority. That's what we're talking about, isn't it? That is now the level we're focusing on. Similarly, if the DUP is, as we think, there's one party for her to engage with in order to generate an overall majority rather than two. So we are now down to the level of individual seats in Northern Ireland deciding whether Theresa May gets a majority or how she manages to construct that majority. Right, let's talk to two victorious
Hello. If you didn't know, you are watching the live Art Bistro Election Night Special. Theresa May SmackDown has just finished and we are live streaming till 10 in the morning. Thank you so much for joining us online. Please share this video. It's been a pleasure so far. We're finally at the stage where maybe things are getting a bit quieter. Maybe we can have a few interviews. Maybe start a bit of a chat with people. Please send us some messages on Facebook through our Live Art Bistro page if you want to chat to us online, and we will be here all night. I'm going to try to get some people here chatting with me about the election. We're going to wait and watch the election results pour in. It's going to be a good night. How's everybody doing out there?
voting for in Scotland. Let's talk about Theresa May. She went into this election wanting for Jeremy Corbyn would be in charge. She hasn't got it. What does that do to her position? Well, it's very early on in the evening and inevitably, as Douglas will know, the seats that are announced earlier, the more urban ones, and of course where I am in London, I'm delighted to have been re-elected as MP for Putney, Roehampton, Southfields, but London is always very, very tough. All right. But if we're working on the basis of the exit poll, the updated exit poll, we still see a projected Conservative score of 322, down from the 17-seat majority that you had before. It's been a failure, hasn't it, this election? I think what I'm saying is that, in a way, the polls mean that most people woke up today with polls that showed Conservatives 7 points, in some cases 12 points ahead. I think the bottom line is nobody knows what's going to happen over the rest of this evening. Politics has perhaps never been more regional, never been more local, and actually we should all wait and see how those results pan out. Are you, indeed, are you seriously saying that you think that the Conservatives could come out with an enhanced majority on top of what they had before? Well, to be absolutely frank, I'm a bit like Douglas. I've been encased in Wandsworth Town Hall since the early part of the morning in a way, so I've not had a chance to really look at some of the other results that are coming through. All right. So, apologies for that. Hang on, I'm going to interrupt you. Eastern Berkshire declaration.
I'm a bit tired.
Total number of votes
very
for each candidate at the election.
Results come in. How is everyone else feeling?
Callum McNally, Scottish Labour Party.
However, you can send messages in through Twitter at Live Art Bistro. You can send messages to Live Art Bistro through Facebook. That special event. You can post on the YouTube live chat. I'm here all of the nights. All of it.
John Nicholson, Scottish National Party, 15,684. Joe Swinson, Scottish Liberal 41,000. Well, a very big win there for Joe Swinson for the Liberal Democrats in the constituency of Eastern Berkshire. SNP MP John Nugent, 6 and 7,000. Just before that came in, East Renfrewshire came in, which is another very interesting seat just to the south of Glasgow. Both Labour and Conservative Kirsty Walkin in Glasgow. There's another interesting twist to this, because if Tim Farron is stuck in a recount in Westmoreland in Lonsdale and there's a leadership fight in the Liberal Democrats Party, then Jo Swinson's in with a shout, isn't she? She is indeed. She was seen as a wunderkind. She was in 2005. She's Equalities Minister in the Coalition, and she was seen as very, very capable indeed. But there's a story here in Glasgow again, a seat. I saw the very biggest swing